Do-do. Oh, hey. Just going through my phone, reading some cool stuff. How you guys doing out there? Shout out to everybody in the live chat. Just enjoying my new shirt I got from my friends over at Aegis Comics of Alaska. Shout out to them. Shout out to everybody in the live chat joining me on this wonderful afternoon. What is it, Tuesday, 4 p.m.? I had no idea I was going to go live. My man Mikey Sutton said, yo, I got a scoop for you. You need to go full-on Wolf Blitzer. Or when I put on the cloak, you know, I'm the Source Server Supreme. So while you guys are congregating, let me play something for you, and we'll get right to it, boys and girls. It'll only take about 10 minutes, man. So why don't you guys congregate so I don't have to read this multiple times over and get some of this Lord's theme music in your system.
Now let's do this. Rewind, select, and come again. Pull up that from the top to the very last. Jump, 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 jump.
Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? In this you shall know that the Lord is faithful. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it! We're here! We're back!
Get stupid job!
You can't get fresher than this.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 5 greatest heroes. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
When it comes, I won't even notice.
Oh, how so?
I'll be too busy looking good.
You can't understand.
All right, boys and girls, shout out to everybody joining us. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, all that good stuff, the notification bell. Normally we go live every Tuesday and Thursday, but sometimes we go live with a comic haul, and sometimes I have scoops like this. I was talking to my man Mikey Sutton the other day, and he's like, you know, he misses doing the scoops, so we're going to stop dropping more scoops as soon as we can, man. As soon as news comes available. Seems to be more and more MCU news coming out. Expect some HBO Max and DC news as well. If you haven't been paying attention to WandaVision, you should be watching it, because there's a couple of clues in there that immediately had collectors kind of guessing this, that, and the other. I would say go back and watch the second episode, because the devil's in the details. There's even big red gum. If you could put those two together, then you're halfway there, boys and girls. And knowing is half the battle. So let's get right to it, boys and girls. This is from my man Mikey Sutton, from our friends at GeekosityMag.com. Let me get a drink of my Cavassier. Shout out to Sith Lordly holding it down with a wrench. I appreciate you, brother. I'm going to do this like I normally do. And you know what, you guys deserve that you haven't had in a long time.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Cannonball!
Cannonball, indeed. All right, I'm going to read this verbatim from my man, Mikey Sutton. This will also go up on the Geekosity Mag website, probably in about 15, 20 minutes, so I get to break the story here first. Full-on Wolf Blitzer, CNN, the Comic News Network, and this is your man, TiVo. When the Ghost Rider reappears in the MCU, he will once again be possessed by a demon. According to insiders, it won't be just a demon, but the Satan of the Marvel Comics, Mephisto. In the comic books, stunt motorcyclist, easy for you to say, Johnny Blaze agrees to a deal with Mephisto to save the life of his surrogate dad, Crash Simpson, who was dying from cancer. The agreement was bogus, as Simpson eventually died in the stunt. While Mephisto was unable to acquire Johnny Blaze's soul, he bonds him with the demon Zarathos, becoming Ghost Rider. So let me break from that from just a little bit, because the story is a bit retconned. Originally, in Marvel Spotlight number 5, it was revealed that Satan had this deal with them, and then he later on bonded with the Spirit of Vengeance, Zarathos. Marvel Comics eventually retconned that and said it wasn't Satan, but it was Mephisto. And fast forward to like 2019, Johnny Blaze eventually sends Mephisto out of hell, and Johnny Blaze becomes the ruler of hell, which is where we last saw him in the comics from like a year ago, I think, 2009. Damn, it's 2021. Let me get back to the story, boys and girls. Just a little comic book, some comic book stuff for you that's back from his origin, Marvel Spotlight number 5, and then most recent run of Ghost Rider. Throughout the 70s and 80s, Ghost Rider was arguably Marvel's most popular cult hero. Clad in blue leather with a flaming skull, Ghost Rider was Marvel's most heavy metal of characters. In fact, Suicide named a song after him in 1977's Ghost Rider, which had the lyrics, "Ghost Rider, motorcycle hero, hey baby, baby, he's a looking so cute, sneaking around in the blue jumpsuit," would be later be covered by the Rollins Band in 1994 for the Crow soundtrack. Did you know that? Sony released 2 theatrical films, in 2007's Ghost Rider and 2011's Ghost Rider Spirits of Vengeance, starring Nicolas Cage as Johnny Blaze. Although widely panned, I think a lot of people kind of appreciate it in hindsight, just knowing how crazy Nicolas Cage is. I mean, come on, they had Ghost Rider piss out Hellfire. How cool is that? Anyway, when the rights reverted back to Disney, Ghost Rider made his MCU debut on the TV series Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in 2016, which I would always say was one of the coolest things of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was watching Robbie Reyes as Ghost Rider, to the point that they could only put him in so many episodes because the special effects just for Ghost Rider himself almost broke the budget for the series. So they had to kind of write him out. But it was one of the cooler things of the early Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. That version of Ghost Rider, while rooted in the comics, belonged to Robbie Reyes, played by Gabriel Luna. The Reyes Ghost Rider had a different origin than the Blaze on both TV and in the comics. On Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Reyes transformed into the Spirit of Vengeance by the Good Samaritan, who was seemingly like Blaze. Seemingly who was like Johnny Blaze, who was the Good Samaritan. Anyway. However, Johnny Blaze was never named in the show despite Gabriel Luna's public revelation of his true identity. There was no reference to Mephisto either. So here we go. Sources tell me that Mephisto's soon-to-be-revealed presence on WandaVision will plant the seeds for Ghost Rider's return. Marvel Studios' Kevin Feige has larger, more ambitious plans for the character, fueling him and the kind of power set, the fear, and the fiery FX that he's never received before. There you go, man. So that's what we've been saying on this channel, that they want to go the supernatural route with the MCU for a while now. Even props to Jeff Lowe, who actually planted the seeds of the supernatural horror side of the MCU. You saw it just briefly with Hellstrom, which wasn't horrible, but it wasn't great, but it was okay. If there's nothing, it kind of streamed at the perfect time during the pandemic. There wasn't much to watch, so you watched it regardless because it had Hellstrom on it. But that was one of the first things. And you remember there was a Ghost Rider that was planned for Hulu as well, along with some other supernatural characters. When Jeff Loeb got asked to leave, or he left on his own volition, whatever you may think it was, Kevin Feige axed all the programs that Hulu had planned for their supernatural branch of the MCU. But even we reported that even those Hulu plans were going to be squashed by Kevin Feige. It was more for the R word, a reboot. And that's a good thing when you have Kevin Feige behind it. Kevin Feige still wants to do the supernatural heroes, but with the Hulu budget, there's so much you can do with special effects. And that was most evident in Hellstrom, right? And other shows. But when Disney Plus gives you that money, then you can do a lot more things. Hence, there's rumors also that Hulu will be absorbed into Disney Plus. They can get the Disney Plus type budgets to do, because this supernatural stuff will require a lot of visual effects. I mean, imagine what they did with Gabriel Luna's character as Ghost Rider in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., right? And for a TV budget, ABC was very constrained on what they could do. Now, if you look at WandaVision, it's one of the more expensive shows on Disney Plus, and we haven't seen it yet, but you're about to. So if you haven't seen it, some of the Easter eggs that they've been looking, go back and watch WandaVision again to see where all the strings may be pulling from. There's a voice in the radio that's actually Jimmy Yoo, whose character was in Ant-Man and the Wasp. He's no longer part of the FBI. He's apparently part of SWORD now. And SWORD already has shown itself, so Very cool stuff, man. Let me shout out to everybody in the live chat. Depending on how many of you are in there, I may have to reread it again. Yeah, there's 121 of you. So sit tight. I am going to reread this scoop for those just joining us. And while you're waiting, why don't you go ahead and hit the reminder bell for the show that I just dropped in the live chat. All right, I'm going to read this one more time, and hopefully I won't mess up as many times this time around. So let's get right to it, boys and girls. As usual, let me give you guys the official word that this is a scoop.
Ladies and gentlemen, can I please have your attention? I've just been handed an urgent and horrifying news story. And I need all of you to stop what you're doing and listen. Cannonball!
All right, welcome all 125 of you joining us on the Friday afternoon. This is the tailgate for the cover before the Cover Price Top 10 at 6 p.m. Pacific. So this is from my man Mikey Sutton over at geekositymag.com, a long-time friend of the channel, an official Lords member, and dropping scoops here for a couple of years now, man. So let's get right to it. This is from Mikey Sutton. This will be up on the Geekosity Mag website. And here we go. This is verbatim what Mikey sent me. When Ghost Rider reappears in the MCU, he will once again be possessed by a demon. According to insiders, this won't just be a demon, but the Satan of the Marvel Comics himself, Mephisto. In the comic books, stunt motorcyclist Johnny Blaze agrees to a deal with Mephisto to save the life of his surrogate dad, Crash Simpson, who was dying from cancer. The agreement was bogus, as Simpson eventually died in a stunt. When Mephisto was unable to acquire Blaze's soul, he bonds him with the demon Zarathos, becoming the Ghost Rider, spirit of vengeance. Throughout the 70s and 80s, Ghost Rider was arguably Marvel's most popular cult hero. Clad in blue leather with a flaming skull, Ghost Rider was Marvel's most heavy metal of characters. In fact, he was so rock and roll that the punk new wave band Suicide named him in a song in 1977's Ghost Riders, which was later done by the Rollins Band in the 1994 for the Crow soundtrack. Did you guys know that? Sony released two theatrical films, 2007's Ghost Rider and 2011's Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance, starring Nicolas Cage as Johnny Blaze. When the rights reverted back to Disney, Ghost Rider made his MCU debut on the TV series Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. in 2016. That version of Ghost Rider, while still rooted in the comics, belonged to Robbie Reyes, played by Gabriel Luna. The Reyes Ghost Rider had a different origin than Johnny Blaze on both TV and in the comics. On Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Reyes is transformed into the Spirit of Vengeance by the Good Samaritan, who is seemingly Johnny Blaze. However, Blaze was never named on the show, despite Luna's public revelation to his true identity that it was indeed Johnny Blaze. There was no references to Mephisto either. Sources tell me that Mephisto's soon-to-be-revealed presence on WandaVision will plant seeds for Ghost Rider's return. Marvel Studios head Kevin Feige has a larger, more ambitious plans for the character, fueling him in the kind of power set that fiery FX he's never received before. So there you go, boys and girls. What do you guys think about that? Leave a comment after the video post. Are you excited? It's been for a while now that they've had plans for Ghost Rider. I was excited when they announced that Ghost Rider was going to be on Hulu, but just imagine not having the budget required to do such a FX heavy character like Ghost Rider. Not only just a car on fire, a motorcycle on fire. I would say one of the cooler things about the Ghost Rider films was at least the special effects were pretty cool. When Ghost Rider was driving up the side of a building and then his chain, it's one of the weirder movies that Ghost Rider is, and it's kind of apropos that Nicolas Cage plays Johnny Blaze, the Ghost Rider, being the huge comic fan that he is. But now that we've planted seeds, you'll see WandaVision a whole new light. I've seen people who've seen the first 3 episodes. That's the first 3 episodes they released for critics or whomever to review them, and they said even after episode 3, it really starts coming into place and some weird stuff. So I'm really looking forward to it. I know it's a slow burn, but luckily they're only 30 minutes episode. It seems like there's little reveals going out each thing. The big reveal is obviously it looks like Mephisto is coming, even though he's not named. They're planting the seeds to that. So all the supernatural horror stuff. Remember, this leads into Spider-Man 3, which also leads into the multiverse of madness. Everything is truly connected now, and it's crazy. It's kind of exciting to be a fan of the MCU and just comics in general, all the stuff that DC doing HBO Max. I'm super excited for Black Adam, JSA. Really don't care about the Snyder Cut, but that's neither here nor there, man. But All right, so we will see you guys again tonight at 6 p.m. Pacific. That's in roughly an hour and 45 minutes. If there's any questions in the live chat, feel free to ask, and I'll try to answer as quickly as I can so I can get ready and rest it up. Shout out to everybody. Joey does comics. My man Azorus Tiger. Prince Zodiac. That's a very cool name. Feige's going to fix all of what they got now that they got them all back. That is correct. And there's a lot of stuff. So Mood Swing asks, so Blaze catch a Reyes. So according to what Mikey Sutton is saying, it's going to be first be the Johnny Blaze, but you can expect a whole mythos of the Ghost Riders. So Johnny Ketch, Reyes, and also the female Ghost Rider. I forgot her name, but this is all stuff that they can really build a giant world of Ghost Rider mythologies on it. And I think it'd be pretty cool. What happens in an hour? Well, the Cover Price Top 10 drops in an hour. Every Tuesday at 6 p.m. Pacific, we go over the top 10 selling comics of the week. Any truth about Feige wanting Henry Cavill for Captain Britain? I think that ship has sailed. At first there was, but as soon as he signed on to do another season of The Witcher, his schedule really got full. So I doubt that would happen. But that would be cool because we do know that for the Captain Britain stuff that they are planning something. Kit Harington's character will spin out from the Eternals, and he will start something similar to Excalibur in the comics, an all UK team, and it'll be either Captain Britain Corps or Excalibur, one of the two, but it'll be led by Kit Harington. They're really high in Kit Harington's character as the Black Knight, so expect that to happen on the MCU side. Yes, there is. We had talked about Comics and Cape asked, how about Quicksilver coming back? There was, we talked about this over a year ago on how Quicksilver would be coming back, and it would be multiple iterations of him because they were going to pull in the one from the Fox movie as well as the one that passed away as kind of the Into the Multiverse of Madness. I don't know if that'll appear, but apparently one of them has been cast for WandaVision. If you look at some of the casting credits, I won't go any further now because I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but if you look up the casting credits for WandaVision, it looks like there may be something along those lines. Ethan Hawke is Dracula, Michael Benson asks. Well, what Michael Benson is alluding to is the casting news of Ethan Hawke going to be in Moon Knight, going to be the protagonist of Moon Knight, meaning the villain. And unfortunately, I don't think it's Dracula, Michael Benson. What I've heard is that it's Bushman, who is Moon Knight's kind of main protagonist. So everything I'm hearing that it's going to be actually Bushman that Ethan Hawke is going to be playing. So it could change though, but so far that's what I'm hearing. Yes. I think Sam Klasko asks, I hope he fixes Inhumans, Fantastic Four, Silver Surfer, lots of, yes. And I think that's going to start with the Eternals. You're going to see the Eternals is going to be a massive film. It's going to fix a lot of these kind of things that originally the Inhumans were trying to do, so I think that's going to be very interesting. I saw a rumor they're going to kill off T'Challa in Black Panther 2. I don't know if they would kill him off because I think it would be a bit disrespectful. I think they will pay proper homage and tribute to Chadwick Boseman, but not kill him per se, or I guess say murdered, I guess, right? Like he dies a superhero death. But yeah, that's interesting, but I doubt it. That is true. That Matt Damon is in Thor number 4. He may just be replaying that same character he played in the first one, where it's just a cameo where he played Loki on stage, which was hilarious. But should be, thank you. It's antagonist. I'm sorry, my bad. I said protagonist. Protagonist is the ally. Antagonist would be the bad guy. Thank you for Mr. Unknown Comics Guy for correcting my words. Does anyone think Magneto? Well, that's a great question, New Comic Smell, because originally Wanda and Quicksilver were the children of Magneto, but as you know in the comics that was retconned because obviously in the Avengers Age of Ultron that's been retconned as well. Maybe they can retcon it again. Obviously these things were retconned because of the properties, who owned what at the time, and at that time Fox owned the theatrical rights for Magneto. So, Marvel still could do Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch on the big screen because she was actually part of the Avengers. So it was interesting how those rights kind of played with each other. And then you got to see another version of Quicksilver on the X-Men film, but nothing about Scarlet Witch because they already used her in Avengers. So that was interesting how they did all that. Any news on the Inhumans since you mentioned? No, I mean, the same thing has been going. I mean, we're just waiting for a trailer to drop. I mean, there's been lots of, the main thing I've heard is that the Black Knight, Kit Harington's character, is going to play a big role in it. And if you pay attention to comics, he is romantically linked to Cersei, who is one of the Eternals as well. And what I heard so far is what they're seeing on the dailies is they really like Kit Harington's character as the Black Knight, and he's going to build, maybe not only get his own feature film, solo films. Think of it as the next version of the UK's Captain America, where he has solo films and he leads a team, kind of like what Cap does in the Avengers, right? Him and Tony Stark, kind of, but Cap is the leader when it comes to strategic planning and fighting, whereas Tony Stark was the brains of the operation. No news on Blade yet. I would expect if there is no San Diego Comic-Con this year, I would full on expect, and D23 I think was pushed back as well, but I would expect another Disney investor call like the one we saw this year where they do full on graphics, maybe if not sooner, because I don't know what they did when that investor call. I think it's a quarterly investor call, so they could do it again if you think about it. If you think about it, it's every quarter, so there could be one coming up in the next couple of months. Imagine them doing this every quarter, since I doubt there will be any Comic-Cons back in 2001. I just don't see it as a possibility. You can have half a con, but it's still not the same thing. You can't have people traveling across the globe. Really, it's hard to fill it in. So I would expect another Disney investor call, similar to the one we had this last, what was it? God darn. It seems like it's so long ago. I think it was like a month ago. But the interesting thing about that is the first ever they actually had video on there. I go out and search it. Go out and search the prior Disney earnings call. It was just a boring conference call. People talked on the phone and they listened and they just gave you the boring. And this Disney earnings call was a full-on presentation, man. It was pretty amazing what they said about that. Well, Michael Fassbender return as Dr. Doom. I doubt it. Here's the thing, man. When there's characters that are so, when you see Michael Fassbender, you're going to see Magneto. It's kind of hard to place him as not Magneto because he did such a bang up job on that. If anything, what I had heard was the original X-Men characters from the Fox universe will be brought in kind of to say a farewell to them because they respect what they did, Sir Ian McKellen and some of these other cats, what they did on the X-Men films. But, Marvel and Feige want to go their own way. Maybe they'll pull a couple characters here and there, but I think eventually they'll want to write them off into the sunset, maybe bring them in to kill them off. And I heard all this is going to happen right around Into the Multiverse of Madness, where they're going to introduce, it's going to be this huge film. They introduce a bunch of characters, tying in the Fox universe, tying in the Sony universe, wherever they can to get in. And I think that's out. I meant, as far as him being Doom, though, I mean, really anybody can be Doom once they put the mask on, right? It could be, it's going to be a voice. But I don't think Fassbender will be back as Dr. Doom. Maybe back as Magneto, because he was awesome as Magneto in one of my favorite X-Men films. I put it right up there at the top is X-Men First Class. I think that's a great version of Magneto, kind of like a spy, kind of James Bondish. But all right, boys and girls, I'm running on 24 minutes now, and I got 128 of you held captive. So we'll be back later on. But yeah, so that's the scoop, man, that Mephisto is going to plant the seeds of Ghost Rider coming into the MCU. So we're finally going to get some movement on that. And we will see you guys later tonight, man, at 6 p.m. Pacific for the Cover Price Top 10. Until then, boys and girls, keep digging in them long boxes. We'll see you in about an hour and a half. I need to go rest up, man, but I appreciate you guys for joining us. And until then, I will see you guys in roughly 90 minutes, somewhere around there. Bye. See you at 6 o'clock. Peace.
Now let's do this! Rewind, select and come again. Pull up that from the top to the very last. Jump.
Who are you to make their lives bitter in hard bondage? In In this you shall know that the Lord is upstate. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, do it. We're here. We're back.
Get super job. You can't get fresher than this.
In the great hall of the Justice League, there are assembled the world's 5 greatest heroes. Their mission, to fight injustice, to right that which is wrong, and to serve all mankind.
When it comes, I won't even notice.
Oh, how so?
I'll be too busy looking good.
You can't understand.